It's a real privilege for me to be here. I see some familiar faces, and so for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to start off by showing a little PowerPoint presentation with some slides that'll get you to know me and my wife, who's on the screen there. Her name is Barbara. We have both had very long museum careers. I was mostly in the art museum world, and she was mostly in the historical museum and decorative arts collections kind of world. So we have a broad range of expertise and experience with most objects that we come across in our business. As Stan said, I was the associate director at the Owsley Museum for many years, where I got to know Brian and Jenny Gordy. And I had commissioned Brian to do several commissioned works that would restore or reproduce antique frames in the museum's collection. So we got to be pals. And when he said to me one day that he was thinking about retiring, it gave us this idea. And so we jumped off a cliff and bought his business. And now we are very grateful that we are there. It's a terrific asset to this community, I think, and I can only owe all of that to Brian and Jenny for building that up. And it's a privilege to be able to continue that work. So I'm going to have to look for my thingy. Just briefly, if any of you have not known our business, Gordy Fine Art and Framing, this is the inside of that shop. It is a frame shop as well as an art gallery, and we do exhibition openings every first Thursday of the month, in which you can come share a glass of wine with us and enjoy an opening of a regional artist, someone who has connections to East Central Indiana is who we show in our gallery. We often do have these artists do demonstrations, and so this was a featured artist of ours. Her name was Kaylee Dalton. She was a graduate of Ball State and now has a career in northern Indiana. She does encaustic painting, which she is demonstrating here. We also do corporate installations, and when you engage us to do corporate installations, you get the A team. You can see that my wife is there. Actually, we do this ourselves, and so that's a major part of our business that sometimes you don't get to see. We pack works of art for shipping, and this is maybe a confusing image. It's actually 3 images, so we've wrapped the painting there on the left. The open box is there in the middle, and then we put an inner box in for paintings usually. It's very important to have at least 2 boxes for any shipping of a work of art, so that if one gets crushed or run through, then the other one is still safe. I'm not going to spend much time on this stuff. My wife is also, Barbara is also a certified appraiser of works of art. That's a kind of a misnomer, but she is an experienced appraiser and can value things for either resale or for insurance purposes. We're also a regular frame shop, which is what the business started as originally. And so we frame all sorts of things. As Stan was saying, I provided all that information for him. So if it sounded good, it's because I wrote it. Some of my favorite jobs are rescuing family treasures. And this is one of my favorite stories of all time. This is a skirt. You can see it's quite large, but it's made entirely out of silk, and it was made by a gentleman who was serving in World War II, and he had some time on his hands, I guess, between missions, and he took a parachute, and he individually took threads out of this parachute and made it this flowing skirt, which is gorgeous, and became a real family treasure for the client who brought it to us. And it was so special for her that she needed to have it preserved and framed and made so that she could give it to her her families, pass it on down through the generations. We do a lot of this work, passing things down to generations. This is another one. This is a panoramic photograph of a World War I unit that had suffered a lot of bad condition during its lifetime, mostly because it was stored either in an attic or a basement where it had, humidity and heat swings and such like that. Somebody asked me one time, why does someone walk into your business? And it occurred to me that the reason people walk into our business sometimes is that somebody died. And what's happening is that people who are going through the effects of someone in an estate find all sorts of wonderful family treasures that they either didn't know about or they forgot about, and they remember from years and years past, and they want to revive those things. So we pride ourselves on being able to specialize in that and restoring them into a condition that they would have once remembered. So here, the reason that this frame is all apart is because it's the original frame. I was able to actually dismantle the entire frame, make it into 4 pieces again, and then rebuild it so that it was the original, all original components went back into this. And then, of course, what I'm going to be talking about today is our museum quality gilding and framing of museum quality works of art.